been a little bit less than a week since Will Howard to Jeremiah Smith pretty much locking in a natty champ for the Buckeyes. Since that moment, my life has just dramatically gotten better, and so I figured I'd come up on here and just talk a little bit about this season, talk about the what national champion Ryan Day is saying is the greatest run in college football history. And yeah, just like what the future holds for this team as a lot of stuff is being announced recently. It was a crazy season, coming off like you felt like for like the entirety of Ryan Day's time here, it's been like we're right there. Like I love what you're doing for me, Ryan Day. And you go on my Twitter. I tweet a lot about Ohio State. Go into all the group chats I have. So one of my friends pull up a time where I'm really hating on Ryan Day and trying to get him fired because I've always been on Ryan Day's side. I've always been, as a Yankee fan as well. It's the okay. We haven't won a World Series, but Cashman has never had I've never had a losing record, and that's kind of like what Ryan Day does. It felt like we needed to get this win. We needed to win a championship. Like it's been long overdue, and they go out and have an incredible offseason. I mean, we got Caleb Downs, we got Jeremiah Smith who committed, we got Will Howard in the house, Quinshon Judkins, Seth McLaughlin, and I'm missing a few there, and then what we really did, and what everybody's like, a lot of analysts have been, really just hounding on, is that we retained so many guys, and like that's what I think most Buckeye fans are just so pumped about. Like, of course, like seeing Caleb and Judkins like do what they did this year was incredible. Will Howard, forever a legend, but like to be able to see, Travion Henderson, JTT, Jack Sawyer, Denzel Burke, like all those guys just come back and have another a sick year, and and be able to win it. It was a rough season. It was one of the toughest probably regular seasons I've ever experienced as a fan of a sport because our expectations are we're the number one team in the country. We're gonna win a national championship, and then we lose to Oregon. We dropped down the rankings, and while that wasn't the end of the world because Oregon was the number one team for a while, um, like this was the undefeated team that we were hoping that the undefeated season's over. Then we go on to beat Indiana and Penn State, and those were some massive wins at the time. And then the tough game of Michigan came up, and that one was probably one of the lowest points as a sports fan ever, just because like so many years of like losing to them in a row, like in the grand scheme of things, like bro, since I've been a Buckeyes fan, since all people of my generation, it's like we own the team up north, but over recent years we haven't won that game, and so with the team we had, with the team they had, you have to win that game, and so to lose that one, that was a super low point because now it felt like our team, we could beat Penn State, we could beat Indiana, but it's like we are the number one team in the country. Like, what are we doing here? And so I think it reached a point where a lot of people just like were like not believing. You felt like some of these guys might be just looking to their NFL career, and it was just disheartening because what I mentioned about those guys returning, it was like Emeka Ibuka comes back for this Natty championship run, and so now comes the playoff, and holy cow, was me like I love this team. Like I never was like, oh my gosh, like I'm watching these playoff games, like we're in it together. But I did think like, okay, we just lost to Michigan, we just lost to Oregon earlier this year. We have the toughest road in this playoff. It's gonna be a tough one, and were my doubts gone immediately with that touchdown pass to J.J. Smith, and we really rolled over Tennessee. I mean, we rolled over Oregon, we rolled over Texas, and then it was really in the Natty where that first drive by Notre Dame was like the first time where I was like, okay, we're losing the national champion, we're losing the college football playoff. Haven't had to deal with this But also, I mean, I texted it. I probably tweeted it out too. Like, bro was dead after that first drive. It was so apparent. He put a lot into it. So, uh, like, then Ohio State just kept piling it on. We got to 31, I think, and it was kind of just like, all right, sit back, let's wait for the parade to rain down. And then it got close. I was a little bit more stressed than I had hoped to have been at that point of the game, but I think overall you just knew our defense was going to get the job done, and then Will Howard does rush it twice, and I'm like, oh snap, let's do something here. Come on, guys. And then he makes a big pass to Smith, and then Jaden Fielding, gets his flowers because my man has had a great season, had one bad game against the team up north. That is all. That is all. And he has just been, great since. So, yeah, I think we all really wanted this for Ryan Day. A lot of Ryan Day supporters, seeing him just get the national championship, what he's had to go through. I think it was like the anniversary of his dad passing away. Like, bro, it's bigger than sports. It's really bigger than sports. To see, Will Howard come over from Kansas State and, have doubts about him. I hate how the transfer portal, like, kind of ruins it. Like, Aaron Noland, is he a natty champ? I hope he is. Devin Brown did stick around, so I was happy. I was happy for him to get that natty before he went off to Berkeley. Yeah, like the receiving core just played out of their mind in this championship. The running back duo, like people are gonna say, like stats wise, this wasn't the best running back duo of all time, and that's fine. But like it was legendary, and you had so many options. You had the best receiver in the country. You had maybe the best number 2 in the country. You had probably the best number 3 in Carnell Tate in the country. And then you had Will Howard who could run the ball. You had G. Scott who could catch the ball. And so the 2 running backs didn't have to do all the work. But, like, when we gave it to them, we cooked. When we threw the ball, we cooked. And then the defense, bro. Like, having JTT and Jack Sawyer on 2 sides of the ball, insane. And then Lathan Ransom, like, just played out of his mind. Our corners, Denzel Burke and Iggy, they were a little bit shaky this year, but I loved what they brought to the team. They brought that veteran leadership. Denzel Burke balled out of his mind. He's going to be great in the NFL. Iggy's coming back for another year, so that should be fun. I think one of the most underrated things when we look back on the year, just because of like how good, Jeremiah Smith was, how good I mentioned the running backs were. We had the Jack Sawyer strip sack against Texas, who ran that back to the house. And, like, you pair him on the other side of JTT. And you're like, where is this team the best? And I think it's really with its leadership and specifically with Caleb Downs. We heard earlier in, before the playoff, he had, like, a players-only meeting with Ryan Day, and he was kind of running the show there. What he brings to the table at his safety position, it is so hard to be so impactful on every single play, and he really is. And so what he brought to the table, I'm so thankful I'll have him for another year as a Buckeye, because he's really going to be the main factor, I think, in going back-to-back. Like, he really just showed his leadership skills, and he is worth every dollar, every cent that we gave him, because my man balled out, and he also just, he ran a good locker room. This is just a huge weight lifted off the shoulders, I think, a lot of Buckeye fans. We coming off the Michigan Natty last time, and it is disheartening that, you can lose the game and win a Natty, and I don't think it takes away anything from the game itself. Michigan fans will have that over us going into the next season. Like, they have another win. But, like, at the end of the day, the Natty's the more important game. And so I don't think it takes away from the rivalry. I still think, like, it sucks. It's, like, the worst that Michigan fans still feel like they have something to say every time there's a Natty. But at the same time, it's, like, the best team in college football won. We don't have to argue, like, is this Ohio State team the best of all time? Do they have the potential? Did they have one of the best runs, Yes, they did. But they didn't go undefeated this year. And it's not about that. You can lose to a Big Ten team, and you can lose to the number 1 team in the country and still win a Natty. And It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but they did it. It's so sick to see what the coaching staff, Chip Kelly, Jim Knowles, Ryan Day came together, what they were able to accomplish in changing the guys' mindset, changing their scheme from that Michigan game into the playoff. It's like we didn't just like beat these teams by a little. It was like we destroyed Tennessee before they knew what happened. We beat up Oregon. We beat them up. And then Texas. It was like that was a close game, but at the same time, you just knew like Ohio State scored, then Texas finally scored to tie it up, and then Ohio State scored right away again. And then, Ohio, like we felt comfortable the whole time. And then the Notre Dame game, we just like I was sending out like championship winning text in the third quarter. But yeah, I think overall it was just so cool to see them lift that trophy. Tomorrow is the celebration at the shoe, and so I'm excited to watch that on the Big Ten Network. But yeah, man, this was up there with one of my favorite teams, of course, of all time, in all of sports. This is my third real championship that I've been alive for. We got the 2 Ohio State football championship, or this is the fourth one. 2 Ohio State football championships, and then Ohio State wrestling natty championship, and then a Yankees World Series in 2009. So where this ranks for me as all-time championships, I mean, it was just so good to see this team overcome the obstacles they did and just do it in such awesome fashion. Like, to see us just break these SEC teams along the way, to see Jeremiah Smith, explode on the scene, like what he's been doing all season long, but just like against Oregon, he just owned them. To see our Jukins be able to get 3 tutties in the Natty championship, bro, like it was awesome to see this. It was really, really awesome. Jack Sawyer, the strip sack, run back, one of the best plays in my life. Yeah, I think one of the most underrated plays will be the Travion Henderson touchdown against Texas. And that call was just amazing. Henderson's someone who can make a house call from anywhere, and he just might do that.
Howard, how aggressive will they be in the final seconds? Henderson can make a house call from anywhere, and look out! He just might do it. Travion Henderson gets momentum back for Ohio State. 75 yards.
Yeah. All right. This was a serious, heartfelt video, but you know what? After the Yankees lost and I had to clown them. Give me this. Give me a sweet Buckeyes championship video where I can talk proudly about the boys. It's a relief. It was joy. It was excitement. Yeah.